guys, welcome to Bastion Time. I am your host Bastion. This is E3 personal story wrap-up time something. I don't know what the title of this is going to be. But basically, I thought I just wanted to babble about my experience at E3. Not really what I saw, the games themselves or whatnot, but more about like a vlog style of actual events. And I was going to do this day by day while at E3, but you'll see why that was impossible as we get into it. So first of all, I guess I'll just start at the beginning. So my flight was on Monday morning-ish, and that all went without a hitch. I get into LA just fine, and then at the hotel, so just to set this up, the people attending E3 in my group we're the Zelda Dungeon team / Gen Game team. So it's Mossy's, who's the site owner for Zelda Dungeon and Gen Game and several other sites, and myself represent Zelda Dungeon. And then Gen Game, which is the sister site of Zelda Dungeon, it's the general gaming site. That was Ben and Joel. Why I forgot Joel's name for a second there, I don't know. And we're all arriving at different times. Both Ben and Mossy's are coming from like the Chicago area. They arrive earliest. They immediately went straight to get a rental car. So when I got into LA, to be perfectly honest, my plan was to go straight to the gym because I wasn't going to be able to work out in the morning, and I like morning workouts. So that was my plan, but then they were like, well, just head to the rental car place. So I asked him, okay, which rental car place? And he tells me, and so I go out and wait for the shuttle that takes you directly to the rental car place, and I'm waiting and waiting and waiting, and finally the shuttle for budget rent-a-car, whatever it's called, arrives, and I get on that, and I get all the way to budget, and then I'm wandering around and not seeing them anywhere, and I text him and say, so budget, right? And he said, no, dollar. I don't know about you guys, but I have never heard of a rental car place called Dollar. I don't know what that is, so I guess my brain just tuned out when he said dollar, thinking he was talking about a dollar bill or something, because I've never heard of that company. So I had to get back on the shuttle, go all the way back to the airport, and then they just picked me up. So then we go immediately to our hotel, well, motel. And it is very far away from downtown because I don't know if you guys know this, but as soon as, like, for instance, right now that E3 2015 has been announced, the specific dates, already there are hotel rooms booked for that. Like, as it gets close to E3, there are no rooms in any hotels anywhere. So you have to find a room completely outside of LA, basically, literally outside of LA, in like suburbs around LA. So that's what ended up happening for us. So we get there and they say, oh, by the way, the Wi-Fi isn't working. And we're like, that's kind of crucial to what we're doing. I mean, especially for me, because my plan was film stuff at E3, come back to the hotel, edit it, upload it, and have like every day have consistent, you know, up-to-date stuff. And so we're like, that's kind of important. Are you going to get that fixed? And he's like, well, we don't know. Anyways, it's just a courtesy. We can't promise you that the Wi-Fi is going to be there. And we're like, our staying here is contingent upon the Wi-Fi, so screw you guys. We're going to another hotel. So right across the street was another one. So we went there, and their internet, they said, was working. So we went there, and then we took out some of our devices, laptops and phones, smartphones, and could not get the internet to work. So we said, okay, never mind, and went around the corner to a different hotel, and we could connect to the internet with our devices. At that hotel, it was a bit spotty, but whatever. So we went there, and And then somebody who also works with general gaming, Alex, you possibly know him. He lives kind of near LA, like an hour away from LA. So we went all the way out to his not hometown, but where he's living, and had dinner with him, and then came back to the hotel and slept, and then woke up bright and early to find out that the internet really wasn't working, actually, and in fact, we couldn't stream anything or watch any YouTube videos or anything, so that meant that Nintendo's conference thing, the digital experience, which was happening that morning, we weren't going to be able to watch it at the hotel. So we went to a Starbucks and tried to use their internet there and purchase some Starbucks products, and it wasn't really going to happen. Their internet was there, but not good enough to stream anything. So I know from experience that Target has pretty decent Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi. So there was a Target right across the street. I went and scouted it out. Sure enough, it worked fine. I told them, hey guys, it's fine, come over here to Target. So we watched Nintendo's conference from a Target instead of from our own hotel room, which was the whole... Anyway, so that was frustrating. So we're like, okay, that's it. This hotel is not working for us either. We're going to go to E3 now. We'll figure out what to do about that hotel. Well, we already know what to do. We're not going back to that hotel. We will go to a different hotel after E3. So, or after the first day of E3. So we watched Nintendo's conference. That was awesome. Lots of great stuff in it. I'll talk about that in some other venue. Then we went to day one of E3. We took the rental car there and parked it. As we were getting out, everybody was like, should we bring our laptops? It's just added weight. We don't necessarily need them during the day at E3. I was like, I'm taking mine because my plan was to quickly capture Hyrule Warriors footage, take that footage back with me to the media room immediately, edit it, upload it, and have it there immediately for everybody to see. That's the whole reason why I was there, really, was to get this stuff up and ready for everybody to see immediately. So I brought mine, and Mossy's and Ben did not bring theirs. I think Joel brought his. And that becomes important eventually. So we do day one at E3. We'll skip all of that stuff. So E3's over, we get into the car and go... Oh, I forgot. That's another part of the story is, on my first day there at that horrible hotel, I went on a journey to find a 24-hour fitness that I could work out at, and it was in horrendous disrepair. I don't understand what is going on there, but like everything was falling apart. Like even the molding on the walls was like half off, and it was disgusting. But that was in a separate town. That was in the town Hawthorne, which is a suburb of LA. Yeah, we don't... Our 24-hour fitnesses are... We have some bad ones, but nothing as bad as that in Portland. So anyways, we get back to the... We're heading back to the hotel, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, well, then we're going to a new hotel now. That's in a different suburb, so I'm trying to figure out where the closest 24-hour fitness is to that hotel. And I got it all plotted out, and I'm ready. And also I have a friend in LA, so I was trying to arrange maybe working out with a friend at that hotel, not the hotel, but at that 24-hour fitness. So we get to the new hotel, we test out the internet on some smart devices. It's brilliant. Mossy says, okay, well, let's try it out on the laptops to make sure before we settle on this hotel. This is hotel number 4, if you're keeping track. And so, so I pull out my laptop and I'm checking, yeah, it's fine. And then Ben goes to the trunk to get his laptop and is like, my laptop is not in here. In fact, his whole, like, messenger bag thing that his laptop and 3DS were in was not in the trunk. And he's like, oh my gosh, did I leave it at Target? Jeez, we better call that Target and see if anybody turned it in. Oh no. And then Mossy's is like, oh no, oh no, oh no. And we're like, what? Your laptop also can't possibly be missing, can it? And he's like, yes, my laptop, his messenger bag, laptop carrying case thing was also missing. So the car got broken into, but not necessarily broken into. Mossie's later admitted that he thinks he remembers that when he went to the parking garage in the middle of day 1 of E3 to get something or other, he thinks he remembers not locking the front door, and in which case somebody just was checking the doors, found that our car's front door was unlocked, popped the trunk. They found some laptops. But I forgot to mention this, but actually as we were like pulling the stuff out of the trunk at this new hotel, I did notice my bag was wide open. My backpack, my new Zelda backpack that I made, you know, was wide open, and one of the zippers was like off of its track, and I was like, geez, I must have been in a violent hurry this morning on our way into E3. I don't remember leaving it open or, you know, ripping the zipper off, but now it all makes sense. That none of my stuff was missing, but all that was in that backpack happened to be Zelda shirts, so I guess the thief decided, not worth it. So I lucked out, but they did not. So Mossie's and Ben went to Walmart to go buy a new laptop, which they needed to get some work done, and then due to all this kerfuffle, it was too late for me to go to the gym that night, so that was frustrating for me because I'm kind of addicted these days. So anyways, that whole thing happened, and then I don't know if I should talk about this or not, because it might not be very sensitive of me to talk about it. So, I mean, I won't say who it was or anything, but in the middle of the night, we're all asleep, and out of nowhere, one of the four of us, not me, so one of the four of us starts yelling, "No, no, 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 no," and jumps out of the bed and starts running towards the bathroom area, and then shouts, oh, I'm getting chills just thinking about it because it was so eerie and creepy. Shouts, "I'm not even looking, take it, just take it, I'm not even looking," and then screams at the top of their lungs. So this is, of course, waking me up, so I'm thinking, is this a dream that I am having? And then I realized, no, it is not a dream, it's a dream that somebody else is having, and I don't know what that thing is called, but, you know, they were, like, enacting their dream, and this basically it was the screaming at the top of the lungs that was the scary part. So we're like, "Oh, are you okay?" And he's like, "I'm fine." Like he wakes up immediately and has no idea that happened, and so I did not get to sleep for the rest of the night because it was impossible. I just kept thinking, "Oh my gosh, is that going to happen again?" And you know, and it's not this person's fault, of course. They can't help it, so it's just unfortunate. But I wasn't able to sleep for the rest of the night, and so I got very little sleep in preparation for day 2 of E3. And in the middle of day 2 of E3, I started to get sick, which was not fun. So what can you do? You know, so day 2 of E3, I realized that due to time frames and whatnot, I wasn't really going to be able to go to the gym after E3 because I was going to meet up with that friend of mine who lives in LA. I have 2 friends that live in LA, actually, and I tried to meet up with both of them. But so I cut out in the middle of E3 and went to the gym that's downtown, and that was a much nicer 24-hour fitness. And one thing that I will talk about E3, the E3 experience, is that on day 1 I bumped into some Zelda Universe friends of mine, and one of them is Ombre de Mundo, in case you know him. So when the show floor's open, we'll dash to the Nintendo area, and I'm going directly to Hyrule Warriors to capture some footage. But I can't because Ombre de Mundo is already in line to play the Smash Bros. Thing. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a giant projector screen, and then it isn't a line. You don't get in line to play it. You just sort of group around this blocked off area, and then there's like a bouncer kind of guy who's like, okay, you can go. in, you can go in, you can go in, and you can go in. And then those are the people that get to go up and play it. And it's based on how Nintendo fan you look. But more specifically, how Smash Bros. Fan you look. But that's difficult to tell, so... Ombre had some kind of pull somehow, and literally pulled me into the line, so I was fine with that. And then those who play get a Smash Bros. T-shirt that's going to be super rare someday, and those who actually win that match get a medal, which is also going to be super rare. I did not get a medal. Anyway, so the whole point of that is that on day 2, I tried once again to win a medal, did not succeed. So then day 2, after E3, we meet up for dinner. No, that was day 1 that we met up for dinner with those people, who were just random people we bumped into and thought they were pretty cool and had dinner with them. But no, on day 2 is when I met up with my friend, who I'd only ever known online. Anyways, we met up and had dinner and stuff, and then oh yeah, that's the night that I didn't have one of the key cards with me. We had 2 key cards, and for some reason both key cards were in that group of other 3 people instead of one with me, and I was off doing my own thing. So I text them at a pretty reasonable early hour, like 11 p.m. or something like that, and I'm like, okay, I'm almost back to the hotel. Which room number is it? I forget. No response. I text somebody else, one of the other members of the group, no response. So I try to call the both of them, no response. I then call the hotel's front desk and say, can you patch me through to Mossy's room? And the front desk guy was like, do you know the room number? And I'm like, no, that's actually why I'm calling, because I need the room number. And he was like, if you don't know the room number, I can't transfer you. And I'm like, I need the room number because I am one of the guests in that room and I don't remember the room number, so I was trying to call to ask them what the room number is and make sure that they're awake to open the door, and he was like, okay, fine. So he rings through to their room and they don't answer. So he rings through to the room again, they don't answer. He rings through to the room a 3rd time, no answer. So I'm like, are they not here somehow? What is going on? So then I'm like, okay, well, can you just tell me the room number then, please? So the guy tells me the room number, and I go up to the door and I knock and knock and knock and knock and knock and text and call and knock and knock and knock, and then finally somebody opens the door. They had gone to sleep like already 2 hours before, but that's because most of them are from the Midwest or whatever, so the time zone was different, so it was way later for them than it was for me. So that's fine. So final day of E3, I once again try to win a medal, don't succeed, and nothing really of interest happened. I went to the gym again in the middle of E3 because that's just what I had to do, because then afterwards I was supposed to meet up with my other friend, an old high school friend who lives in LA now, and then there was all this thing about how we were going to have a Zelda dungeon / gem game Mario Kart party at Alex's house, and I was supposed to try to do both things, and that didn't work out. Really, neither of those 2 things ended up working out very successfully. So I ended up getting to I had my own keycard this time, so I was able to get to the hotel and try to get some work done. But here's the thing, my laptop is horrendously underpowered. And so when at home, I use the regular PC, and it takes me about 30 minutes to maybe 45 minutes max to render one of my 5-minute videos, which is still not that great. It takes like 6 hours to render a video of that same length on my little notebook computer. So I don't know what I was thinking. I knew this from last year. If I go again next year, I have to get a different computer setup because that's just not workable. So really, oh, by the way, on that day of E3, one of the other media representatives accidentally, or maybe accidentally, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, took my iPhone syncing cable, because I'd been recording the footage with my iPhone and then plugging it into my computer, uploading the footage, editing it, and then trying to upload it onto YouTube, and the cable vanished out of nowhere. And I'm sure it was an accident. I'm sure nobody meant to take my iPhone cable. So then I didn't even have the ability to get those videos off of my phone onto my laptop anymore. I tried to upload them directly from the phone to YouTube and then download them from YouTube to my computer and then edit them, but that stopped working. It kept failing with some of the videos, so I finally gave up and just went to sleep. And so then the following day, which for me was, well, the following day was Friday. E3 is already over at that point. Everybody, Mossies and Ben, have a super early flight, so they leave crazy early. I'm still feeling incredibly ill, extremely ill at that point. And so, and then Joel leaves, so I just sleep some more until checkout, basically. And then I check out, but my flight is still not until 7:10 p.m. and checkout is at 11, so I've got all this time to kill, and I have to go to the gym. So I go all the way to Hollywood to check out the 24-hour fitness there, and it is as terrifying as I could have possibly imagined it would be. Yeah, a blow to the ego for sure. So anyways, but a beautiful gym, very, very nice gym. So I'm supposed to try to meet up with that old high school friend again after my workouts, after he gets out of work, before I go to the airport. But I don't calculate LA traffic very well and all of this stuff. So so while I'm talking to him on the phone, I'm going to take several buses to get to the airport because it's not possible for me to hang out with that friend. So and in LA they have this interesting system for riding the buses where you have like this thing that looks like a debit card kind of thing, and then you tap it on this thing inside of the bus for your payment. And it had been working fine. I had tons of money loaded onto it. In fact, I was thinking, oh geez, I really should have used the public transport more because I loaded all this money onto this card and now it's going to go to waste. So I get onto that first bus. From Hollywood, I have to catch one bus to get to another bus, which will get me to the airport shuttle, which will get me to the airport. So I get on that bus and try to tap it, and then it doesn't work. And the card is inside of my E3 lanyard. And the reason why that is because everywhere you go anywhere in E3, they want to check your E3 registration badge thingamajig against your own driver's license or state-issued ID or whatever you have. So I just started putting my ID inside of the lanyard plastic thing so that way they could flip it around and check it out that way. And then I was like, I may as well just keep my debit card in there too, and may as well keep the tap card in there as well. So anyways, so the tap card wasn't working on the bus, but the driver was like, whatever, just get on. And so I was like, okay. So I do not know what happens at this point, but when I get off of that bus and then go to catch the connecting bus, I realize, and that bus is approaching the stop, I realize my lanyard is nowhere. My debit card and ID and tap card are nowhere. So I'm still talking to my friend on the phone at this point, so I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Do I call their lost and found? And he's like, no. Their lost and found is useless. They won't know for at least until tomorrow. Your flight is in an hour or whatever, an hour and a half. So you should just get on that next bus and then figure it out from there. And I'm like, well, okay, I'll get on the bus and I'll get to the airport, but TSA is not going to let me on unless I happen to have an ID, right? And he's like, oh, they'll probably be able to work something out for you, but I am super stressed and certain that it's not going to happen. So I get on to the bus and pay with cash. Thank goodness I had some cash with me. I almost never have any cash with me ever. Pay with cash, get to the airport shuttle, But for whatever reason, that bus took literally 1.5 times, almost, not even more than 1.5, I'd say more like 1.75, but almost double the length of time it should. I think like 1.75 times the length it should. Which means that as I'm getting into the airport itself, they're already boarding my flight. So I dash to TSA, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have an emergency, my flight is boarding, I don't have my ID, I just lost it, what can we do? And can we contact Alaska Airlines and let them know I'm here so they can, not take off without me? And she's like, no, we can't do that. And I was like, okay, well, what can we do? And she's like, you're going to have to fill out all this paperwork if you don't have your ID. You're going to miss your flight. And I'm like, no, I can't miss my flight. So she's like, okay, fine, let me call my supervisor. So she calls this guy. Well, she calls, and it takes him forever to arrive, but he finally does arrive, like 5 minutes later or whatever. I guess that's not forever. But it felt like forever to me, because I had no idea what was going to happen. So he's like, okay, well, do you have any kind of ID with a picture on it? And I'm like, no, I lost that. And he's like, okay, well, do you have a credit card or debit card? And I'm like, yeah, that was lost as well. That was all part of what got lost. And he was like, do you have your social security card? And I was like, oh, actually, yes, I do. Well, I have a photocopy of my social security card. I did not say that to him. So I handed him the social security card, and he was like, this is not a social security card. And I was like, I know it's a photocopy, but it's a photocopy of my social security card. And he was like, And the truth is, I lost my social security card forever ago, and I really should have gotten it replaced, but haven't. So that's a whole other thing I really need to put on my list of things to do. So then he was like, do you have anything? And I was like, oh my gosh, I have my healthcare card from, my healthcare provider thingamajig. And so he looks at that and he's like, okay, well, one other thing, anything. It's something that shows your name and your address. And I'm like, I don't have anything like that. And he's like, a bill? And I'm like, I don't travel with my bills. I have no bills with me. And he was like, well, like a prescription? And I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I was just prescribed something, and in fact have been constantly forgetting to take that medication every single day during E3. So yes, I do have it, and thanks for reminding me to take my pill. So I hand that to him. He's like, oh, okay, fine. And so I was a horrible person and cut in front of everybody and just shoved my way to the front of the line and took off my shoes and all that stuff and got through screening. And then I was like, oh my gosh, my luck is going to be that they're going to pull me aside to, because I had like whey protein powder in a container, which I'm sure looks all kinds of suspicious through the scanner and all kinds of stuff, but no, they let me right through, which was awesome. And then I booked it, ran as fast as I could. Thank goodness I've been running every day for the past 4 months now. So I was very fast, got to the gate. As I get up to the gates, the flight person is like, oh, are you? And she says my name, and I'm like, yes. And she's like, okay, well, get on. And I'm like, yes, I got onto the flight, yes. So I made my flight. And so then the rest of the story is completely uneventful. So basically, the whole point of this is, it was kind of disastrous. There were lots of disasters all the way through, but not as disastrous as last year. So thank goodness for that. I'm very grateful that it was not as disastrous as last year. And in fact, I mean, during all these disasters, I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm not coming back to E3 next year. But since Zelda U is going to be demoed at E3 next year, and since it's probably the last year that E3 will be held at that convention center, I just gotta go. So I'm already going to book my hotel and flights to avoid any kind of issues for next year. So anyways, that's my personal journey at E3. If you want like the video gamey kind of stuff, that's over on Zelda Dungeons YouTube channel, so check that out. And stay tuned for tomorrow and stuff when I upload more vlogs about it and footage from games and whatnot, and some Nintendo news. So see you then, guys. Bye.